Welcome to Meet the Hawkeye. I'm your host AJ Reisetter, and on this show I sit down with some of the greatest student athletes on campus. These athletes are great on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. On Meet the Hawkeye, we highlight it all to give you an exclusive look at what it's like being a student athlete at the University of Iowa. Buckle up for tons of laughs and untold stories of your favorite Hawkeyes. It's Meet the Hawkeye with AJ Reisetter on DITV. Hello everyone and welcome back to Meet the Hawkeye. I'm AJ Reisetter and today we are joined by a very special guest, the top-ranked 101-pounder in the nation in women's wrestling, Sterling Diaz. Sterling, how are you doing today? You just finished up the regular season, like a week ago now? How have things been going and how's it been since the regular season ended?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm really glad that I got that out of the way, but at the same time, I'm always itching for competition. But nonetheless, I'm trying to relax my body and recover. I'm really looking forward to regionals and nationals coming up in a few weeks. Nationals is almost a month away out. But yeah, I've been just trying to, relax and enjoy the time that I have before season starts ramping up again. And yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about off-air regionals and nationals coming up, like you said. And they're both in Iowa. And
yes.
The national duels were also in Iowa. It's like you guys are constantly getting these home meets. They're not at Carver, but they're in the state of Iowa. What's it like having all these big meets, these big national meets in the state of Iowa? And I assume the crowds are pretty good for you guys as well.
Yes, I think it's just amazing that we have this opportunity to represent the University of Iowa, finally. And yeah, it definitely does feel like a home advantage being able to compete here in Iowa. Even though it might not be Carver Hawkeye Arena or Extreme Arena, we still get that proper feeling of home. And the crowd is obviously the best fans in the world, and they're amazing. They show up and they show out and they make sure that they're coming to support us, and they do, and they bring so much love, and it really motivates us. Even when we're competing, just recently we went to Indiana Tech, competed there not too long ago, and we still had a crowd, and that's amazing. Even though they're not some of them aren't even parents, which is just amazing to see that there's just Hawkeye fans all around the world, and that's what separates us from everyone else.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy that even on the road, Indiana isn't too far away, but still fans are coming out and supporting you guys.
Exactly.
And even at Carver, Carver's always going to fill out for when there's a wrestling meet, whether it's men's or women's. What's it been like this year? You said finally when you said you got to represent Iowa. We can talk about that here in a little bit, but what's it been like, the reception you guys have gotten with fans coming in for the first two meets in Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa women's wrestling history? What's that been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really experienced that myself until I came here. We definitely got some encouragement last year, but this feeling and this joy that we get and the crowd that we get is just overwhelming, but in such a positive and great way, because we have all these fans and we have so many little girls coming up to us wanting autographs, and I'm just this is surreal. This is not my reality. So there's definitely some reality checks when I do get in those positions, especially when we were competing at Carver Hawkeye Arena. I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah. Walking out and seeing the crowd, seeing all these people supporting women's wrestling, women's athletics in general, is just a great thing to see. And because I didn't grow up with that, so it's really amazing to see that I get to compete here, where people just love the sport and women in general. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoys it. I hope we're a fan favorite. Yeah, it's just exciting.
Well, I can tell you that I enjoy watching your guys' meets at Carver Hawkeye Arena. And let's talk about that first one, the Trailblazer duels. You guys are trailblazers in the sport of women's wrestling. You talked about all the young girls that come out to the meets asking for autographs and things like that. But the first meet ever, Trailblazer duels, a massive crowd. Terry Steiner came in to watch the first one ever at Carver. What was that like when you first stepped out there and when you saw the crowd and heard the crowd and all that? What were those feelings like that first meet at Carver?
For me personally, I was emotional in a way, just because it's just an amazing thing to see. There's so many fans out there that support us, and it was just an unreal like perspective and environment that I've never got to be in, and I can say that for the girls alongside of me. But nonetheless, it was a great experience. But those nerves definitely kicked in. I was a bit nervous, like competing. But once I got my girl onto her back, and I can just hear the crowd roaring, I was just like, this is amazing. This is like something like I want to be a part of, and I'm so glad I got to be a part of it.
And we talked about it a little bit already, but you said finally when you said you get to represent the University of Iowa. Last year was very different for this team.
Yes.
You weren't officially sanctioned by the NCAA, had all these different rules where you couldn't ride together to these meets. You had to drive yourselves. Thankfully, you were able to practice in Carver, but what was that like, figuring out all the different ways around the rules as an unofficial women's collegiate wrestling team?
Yeah, it was definitely difficult trying to start something that hasn't been started.
Yeah.
But our girls, like we're trailblazers. We're able to pick ourselves out of the mud and try to figure things out by ourselves. I mean, we definitely have some crazy stories and like things that were a little bit messy. Like sometimes we didn't know what we were doing, and so it was really hard to try to like manage on our own, because we did have to build our own. Like we were each other's coaches. We were the managers. We were the mop cleaners. We were everything for ourselves, and it was just like different compared to what we have this year. Like we have so many resources now, and we have so many people that help us to make sure that we have what we need. And like I said, we didn't have that last year, but to know that we have so many supporting people and to have like a really good foundation now is just great.
Yeah. What was the craziest thing you all had to do? We talked a little bit about you had some crazy drives to meet, some things happened. What's one of your favorite stories about last season that was pretty abnormal because of the circumstances?
Yeah, of course. I love telling the story. I tell it all the time because it's one of my favorites. But no, we were competing at Missouri Valley Open. Yeah, I was at the beginning, I think like November or something. And obviously we had to drive ourselves. We had to book our hotel, like our room and board and stuff like that. And pay for our like competition fee. And obviously, as college students, we don't have all the money in the world.
Yeah.
So we had to kind of like improvise on how we can manage our money and like budget in a way. So we decided to all carpool, obviously. The drive up there was hectic, per usual. You have 6 girls in a car. We're going to be screaming on the top of our lungs. And then we get to our Airbnb, which we got. We got an Airbnb, and
fancy schmancy.
Yeah, we thought.
we thought. Oh no.
And we like pull up, and it was like the middle of the night, and it's literally in the middle of like this cornfield. I don't even know where it is. I was just like, I'm a Vegas girl, so I don't know nothing.
It's totally outside your lane.
It was like cultural shock for me. And we pull up, and like the lights were off, everything was off, and we start creeping in. We were like, there's no way that we're going up here. And so like we get out to like go look at it, but we like heard screaming. And like bloody murder screaming. Yeah, so we were like, oh heck no. So we all like booked back into the car, and it was like Ella Schmidt, she's one of my teammates.
Yeah.
She was our getaway driver in that moment. And me and Reisetter and Mendy, we both like frantically hop into the front seat, and she just drives off. We're just driving off, and we're just like, we stopped at the end of the road where we like were coming in the first place, and we just sat there like crying.
That is so scary. What?
But eventually we went back in, and it was not bad of a place. It was actually beautiful. Yeah.
Did you figure out what the screaming was about?
I think we were just paranoid. I think. But it was so scary. It was like,
you thought you heard screaming?
We thought we heard screaming. I swear, all of us heard it though. So I don't know. But we also
suspicious.
it was a crazy experience.
Oh my god.
Also, Ella Schmidt like got locked in the bathroom like 10 times in the house.
You'd think after the first time she would have
Yeah,
learned.
she doesn't. Yeah, I had to crawl in the window to get her out.
What?
Yeah.
So there's like a window in the bathroom that goes outside.
Yeah.
You had to crawl in and be like, okay, this is how you unlock the door.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a crazy Airbnb. And that was at the beginning of the season,
At the beginning
right?
of the
November?
season. That was our first tournament as team unattached.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Did it get any better? Did you find better Airbnbs?
We didn't stay at Airbnbs. We stayed
Okay.
at hotels, but like
After that experience, you're like, no more Airbnbs.
no more. Yeah.
No hate on
definitely not.
Airbnbs, but
Yeah, no. We were in hotels and they just weren't the best either.
oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah, we just did not have any luck when it came to where we were staying.
Did
But-
like your parents or coaches ever help you out? Like, okay, you guys kind of failed on that last hotel. Let's help you out. Find a better one.
I guess not. I think maybe we enjoyed that. Maybe that's what builds character.
Maybe, I mean, it looks like it's worked so far. I mean,
Yeah.
undefeated regular season, a top 1-2 team in the nation,
Yeah.
depending on what poll you're looking at. Top one in our hearts, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, looks like that camaraderie was really built last season through
Yes.
the weird circumstances. That's one thing that Coach Mayab talked a lot about when I was able to talk with him, was that because it was such a weird season, you all got very close. Like you said, you were all your own coaches. You were with each other every single day and in each other's corners for every single meet. I mean, what was that all like, coaching up some of your own teammates and getting coached by your own teammates and building that camaraderie last season?
I think because we were in such a new environment and to be part of this new team where we were all pretty much like, no one's greater than another person. And I think that's what made us bonded so strongly together, because we all had to start scratch and we all had to figure things on our own. And like you said, like we had to be each other's coaches. And that was probably the greatest joy of our season, was to be able to be in each other's corners. When we were out competing, even if it was just one of us, everyone would be in the corner and we would all be cheering for them. And obviously everyone hated us because of it, but
You're all
we just
screaming at the top of
we were
your
just all
lungs.
screaming. But we just loved wrestling so much, and we enjoyed each other's company, and we just loved being around each other. And there was never a time where we were separated. Whether that was in the practice room, obviously we're together. Whether we're in the classroom, there's at least one of us in the classroom with you. And then at the dorms, I mean, we have our fondest memories there. And we are definitely a tight-knit group. Yeah, it was just an amazing experience, and I don't think that can ever be replicated.
No, I mean, it's just so different. It's not, especially moving forward now that women's wrestling is starting to get the notoriety that it has. It's growing so much thanks to this team, thanks to all of you representing the University of Iowa. It's going to be, I don't want to say rare, but something that you're not going to see as much, being like having an entire unattached team. Would you say Would you say that's true, or am I making stuff up?
No, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you all have trailblazed this path for other D1 schools to start picking up women's wrestling. Have you heard that at all? Have other Division I schools or Power 5 conferences started to build up women's wrestling? 'Cause I know a lot of schools have their own women's wrestling clubs, but have you heard of any other schools looking to pick it up as an actual sport, an NCAA sanctioned sport?
I don't really know anything of that sort, but obviously that's the goal, and I hope that we can be the team to push that momentum forward a little bit. But I really hope that is the goal, and I really hope that some teams start to pick it up, because that would be amazing to have those competitions and to really battle against the best of the best. But no, I would love to see it, because that's the reason why we're doing it, and I think that's why Coach Clarissa Chan is so amazing at what she does, is because she's the leader of this entire thing, and she is the reason why we're here. Also towards our athletic department. I mean, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here, along with Coach Brands. So I'm hoping that they start to see that, and they start to see this development and how we're doing, and they want to win, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they want to beat us.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's why you all compete. And,
Exactly.
And you talked about Clarissa Chun, Coach Chun, what she's meant to this team. What's it been like being coached from her? Because she has a very extensive background in wrestling, coaching some of the best wrestlers that have ever walked the planet. What's it been like having her in your corner, getting all these tidbits from her, and now you've become the #1 ranked wrestler in the nation. What's it been like having Clarissa Chun in your corner?
I mean, she's just a ball full of light, you know. She's amazing, and I've always idolized her ever since I was growing up. Obviously, we're around the same weight. I'm a little bigger than her, though.
There you go. You have that on
Yeah,
it.
exactly. But no, yeah, she's amazing, and I just love how she's so supportive, and she's so like adaptive and versatile, and the way she's able to really be there for each and one of her athletes. And she's also like a very she's very like loving in a way, and she's just always there for us. And you know, her technique is just off the chart, obviously. So I can never get a takedown on her, but hopefully by the end of my college career I can. So
That's your biggest goal?
Yeah, it's my biggest goal. Yeah, that's
Takedown Chun.
I'll
That's
get there.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's iron sharpening. It's iron sharpening iron. That's the wording I'm looking for. Iron sharpening iron. I mean, you have one of the best coaches, and she's obviously in there with you, working on that technique, like you said. But you also have some of the best wrestlers in the nation, in your own corner, in the wrestling room every single day. I mean, you're going up against #2 and Emily Gonzalez every single day in practice and things like that. What is that like, having all these awesome wrestlers in the wrestling room every day and everyone making each other better, because you do have the best in the nation all in the same room?
Oh, yes. I think that's what builds our room and makes us better. To be able to know that we're going to go into a competition where we have #1 and #2 Iowa wrestlers in the finals. Like, that's amazing to see. That's not something you see all the time. So it's amazing to be able to have that certain criteria on our backs, and obviously we're all competitive and we want to be the best, and that's what we're doing, and we're training to be the best. And even we all have that same mentality, and that's why we keep continuously growing, and we're skyrocketing in the fields of ranking. But you know, at the same time, we just love to wrestle, and we love to compete. And yeah, I mean, obviously I have that experience of being #2, and then my training partner, #1, Emily Gonzalez, like, she's amazing. So it's good to have that back and forth battle between, you know, the best wrestler.
Yeah. Are there any internal rivalries that happen every once in a while? You get her once, she gets you once, as you going back and forth. Obviously it's all love at the end of the day, but when you're on the mat, does it feel like a little bit of an internal rivalry?
I mean, no, not really. I don't think so. I think it's just wrestling at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, we both want to win.
You just want to win. That's all. That's at the end of the day. That's all y'all want to do.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But we're still friends.
Well, of course, you still you want to win, but at the end of the day,
Like, I still
you
love
still
her.
got to be friends. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, you're not just a wrestler. Obviously, that's what we've been talking about the most. It's what you get asked about the most. It's what you're known for. But you also do a lot of things off the mat. You're in school. What are you studying right now? What are some of your favorite things to do when you're not wrestling?
Yeah, so I'm studying health and human physiology, so I'm trying to get on my pre-PT track, so physical therapy. My biggest thing in life is I want to work with people. I love working hands-on experience and being able to help others the way people have helped me, and I want to shed that light onto everyone that I've touched and that I come across. But like, my favorite things that I like to do outside of wrestling, I have a dog. Her name is Shiloh, and I love hanging out with her. She's annoying sometimes, but she's cute. And then I also have a kitten. Her name is Stormy, and she's just, oh my gosh, she's my favorite thing ever. I love her, and I just love hanging out with them. I love hanging out with my friends, and watching movies, doing all the mundane things that might seem small, but to me personally, it's my favorite thing about my life is to be able to do those things, but also enjoy it. Another thing I love to do is cooking. I love to cook. I might not be the best, but I do it. But I make Bailey try all my food. Bailey, she's on the gymnastics team. She's my favorite person in the world. So I love hanging out with her.
What's your favorite thing to cook, and what is Bailey's favorite thing to eat that you cook?
I mean, my favorite thing, that's hard. We've been like on this sausage and rice kind of thing. That's literally like her go-to.
That's awesome.
It's super simple, but it's like, it's convenient and it's simple, and it's easy. But my favorite thing, I did make birria tacos, and that was honestly so good. Honestly, it came out better than I thought. It was my first time, my second time doing it, but obviously I was sheltered by my dad, so he pretty much did the entire thing. I just stared and pretended like I was doing something.
Pretended you were there,
exactly.
helping out.
Passing him the utensils and everything, whatever.
It's a very important part.
Yeah.
That's typically what I do when my mom's cooking. I'll watch, and then my main thing is just eating it. But I'll say I was there.
You were there.
I was there. I helped out.
Exactly.
That's so fun. But you said that you're trying to go for physical therapy. That's not an easy thing to do in college. I mean, it's been like balancing school and wrestling and all those things? How's it been balancing the work, I guess, the athlete life and the student life?
Yeah, it's definitely hard, and I think everyone can say that as an athlete, as a student athlete, I should say. But I think knowing how to really time management is really important. One of my favorite things that I do and that I'm really consistent at is writing in my planner every single day, and that really keeps me accountable because I'd be forgetting things, Maybe it's because of wrestling and, I get bonked in the head a couple times, but that keeps me accountable. And I also just love being a student at the same time. I mean, sometimes I'm not very good at it, I'll admit that.
It's okay.
But I just love being on a schedule, and I love knowing that okay, I have to do something. I don't want to sit around and not do anything. I can be lazy, but at the same time, I'm gonna hate myself if I am lazy. So I love being on a schedule. But it is really hard to balance all of those things, especially because when we're in season, it's a lot harder because I want to be the best. And, I want to go into the practice room. I want to train extra, but I also want to be good in the classroom. I want to be able to do what I love to do, and that's what I want to be a physical therapist in the future. And I know I have to work hard in that. So it's hard to really balance to figure out okay, I can't just prioritize one thing. So it's really hard to really focus on what I need to prioritize, and then also adding on to that, I have to think about my self-worth and my health, and then my relationships. That's even harder to balance all of those things. But I think I'm doing well for myself at the moment, which is good.
Heck yeah. I mean, it looks like it. It sounds like you're doing great, and I mean, obviously you're kicking butt on the mat. But it sounds like you're doing really well in the classroom as well. Have you been able to take your what you're learning in the classroom outside the classroom and get some practice? Have you been able to do that a little bit here at Iowa, or has it been mostly classroom stuff stays in the classroom?
I mean, I've been wanting to, obviously. I want to get that hands-on experience. It's shadowing, right? Yeah. Basically. I definitely want to do that. Hopefully an internship this summer, be able to get a hands-on experience and work in some kind of practice with my field, but I haven't had the experience yet. But I would I'm not against it or anything. But majority of it has been in the classroom, and I've been learning a lot. So I feel with that, I can definitely lead myself into working hands-on and getting into it.
Getting an internship or something like that. Down the road, would you want to open up your own practice? Is that the goal?
Yes, that is the goal, actually.
Heck yeah.
Me and my best friend from back home, we've already establish pretty much our life for the next 50 years.
Wow,
you know?
that's very impressive.
No, yeah. It's just been a goal of mine to open my own practice and be a physical therapist, to work with athletes. Since I am back home in Vegas, I think the biggest thing is that we have so many opportunities there, and the biggest opportunity is that we have Las Vegas Raiders now, and we have the Golden Knights, and so to be able to work with them, those athletes would be my goal.
That'd be awesome. That would be so fun. What inspired you to go down that route? Is it always something that you wanted to do? You said you love helping people. Obviously, you're an athlete, so you love sports. So PT and kind of that route, was that always in your mind, or was there something that inspired you to do that?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I've always wanted to be an architect, so I don't know how I got here.
Wow, that's
but
a big shift.
yeah, it's a big shift. But when I definitely started wrestling, and I loved the experience of just being able to work with people. And my dad actually had an influence. He's always been like, you need to go into the medical field so you can help me out, you know, make sure I'm okay when I'm older, and that you can help me, and whenever I need a PT, that you can fix me up and give me some rehab. And I'm like, okay. And that's kind of ignited me into going into this direction, and I'm really glad that I did, because it also created this way of me wanting to giving back to people and giving back to athletes, because there's so many athletes that just have been mistreated in ways and aren't getting the proper treatment, and I want to be that person to kind of shed a new perspective on physical therapists.
And from what I've heard, the University of Iowa has some great physical therapists, some great trainers. Have you been able to talk with them about that while you're getting worked on as an athlete, or do you typically keep those two things separate?
No, yeah, I try to combine those things. I like to talk to my trainer. Yeah, exactly. I like to talk to my trainer about it. I like to talk to other trainers about it. Sometimes I like to use medical terminology when I talk to them, or under my breath mainly, because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
You don't want to embarrass yourself.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I try to mix those things in.
That's good. Double dipping a little bit. You're getting the classroom on the mat as well. It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Well, you talked about how you got inspired by your dad because of wrestling and all of that stuff, and at the end of the day, push comes to shove, your dad might need some help later on down the road. So he wants that free help. But when did you start wrestling? You're from Las Vegas. It's a huge atmosphere there. Wrestling in general is a huge thing in Las Vegas. What age did you start wrestling? And then how did it take off from there?
Yeah, I started wrestling when I was around 5 years old. I mean, I was training at this really big gym. I don't know, maybe you've heard of it, Tap Out?
I personally have not heard of it.
Okay, well, Tap Out is this big industry that was kind of under the UFC, MMA kind of thing.
So I probably should have heard of it.
Yeah, it's not a big thing, but there was a wrestling program, and I was originally in judo, and that was my passion when I was younger. But I started wrestling, and I just fell in love with it so quickly, and I joined this local high school team called Green Valley, and they were just amazing. And I started just wrestling. I started competing, and then I became the first girl ever to win state championships when I was 7 years old. Whoa. Which was cool. And it was in the boys division, sorry. In the boys division, and that kind of just broadened my eyes so much that I was this is cool, this is fun. I love it.
State at seven years old?
So we had this thing where it was triple crown, where we wrestle Greco, freestyle, and folk style.
Yeah.
And so I wrestled all three styles, and I won each time.
Just a slight flex.
Yeah.
A humble brag.
So I won all three styles, and so I was crowned the Triple Crown champion, and I became the first girl ever in the state of Nevada to win that.
Jeez.
And I was that was just amazing,
Yeah.
and it was cool. Obviously, I didn't really know anything of it, at that age, but ever since then, I just kept doing it, and I kept developing, and I kept loving it every single day. In Nevada, it wasn't very big when I first started wrestling. It was literally just me and Reisetter and Mendy, my teammate now.
Yeah.
And it was just us two. And then as I kept growing up and I started to go into like international wrestling, I started to get my name on the platform a little bit, and now I'm here.
Now here you are.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my next question is 2016, 2017, middle school, high school, you were flying to all these different countries competing. You went to Croatia, Colombia. I don't have all the countries you visit.
I was pretty impressed. I was like, wow.
No, I saw that you competed all these different events across the world. I mean, how crazy did you realize at the time when you were in middle school, high school, that this is abnormal for a kid my age to be doing, or were we like, dang, this is really cool?
No, yeah, I was definitely like, dang, this is really cool. Like, this is weird, because I was only competing nationally, like around my state, like locally, and then I go to a couple tournaments where I'm competing in Texas, wrestling for nationals, not knowing that I was going to make a team, from there. And I was like, wow, this is cool. Like, I didn't know I was going to Colombia, and that was my first trip ever internationally. And I was just amazed. I was having so much fun. I had the time of my life. It was probably one of my favorite weeks of my entire life. And I got to compete with Kylie Welker, who was also my teammate.
You just met like all your teammates.
I just met everyone pretty much, and like that's what's so crazy. Like, this circle of wrestling is just amazing, and to be able to come here and wrestle with all my teammates that was teammates before, it's just cool to see. But yeah, I competed in Colombia, Croatia, and I just loved it. I love competing internationally. The people are great. The culture is something that I love, and I love learning about new cultures. I love trying to learn new languages. I'm not very good, but I try.
Trying is like half the battle.
Exactly.
I took 12 years of Spanish, and I don't know squat.
Yeah.
So trying definitely helps. But I'm sure there's some wild stories while you're out. I mean, you're going to Colombia and Croatia. You're going on these flights to all these different countries. What was like your favorite memory from? Let's go with Colombia, because you said that was your first one, right? What was your favorite memory from that week in Colombia, competing, kicking butt, and all that fun stuff?
I mean, obviously, winning was one of the highlights of that trip. Yeah. But after that, that's when everything was just like the best. It was the best feeling.
You got to kick back
exactly.
And hang out.
That was so fun. I mean, like, people forget about those moments, and like I always try to cherish them. And after the tournament, we went to this like little, I don't even know, like this area downtown, and we all just hung out. Like, the boys and the girls, we all hung out, and we just had the time of our lives. We ate so much food. Definitely went up 2 weight classes after that. Came back, and we all just like had this big sleepover. We played this game called Mafia, and that was like when I was first introduced to Mafia, and I was like, that changed my life. That's like the
that one game changed
changed my life.
Changed your entire childhood.
Yeah, that's a game changer. Now we all like play it now to this day. And I was with Kylie, and I created such a good bond with her, and I even had my first kiss there. So
yeah, heck of a memory.
Yeah, it was a crazy memory.
A big week in Colombia. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But you talked about how you basically met all your now teammates when you were in middle school, high school, when you were younger. Starting out in wrestling, what's it been like? You talked about it, full circle moments and things like that. What's it been like reliving maybe some of those old memories? And I bet it really helped last year when you didn't have necessarily the coaching, that you were basically coaching each other and you already knew each other a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, last year there was definitely some new faces and familiar faces, but like Sam Calkins, she was a new face to me, but now she's like my best friend, and we're roommates now. But it's crazy because like she grew up watching me, and that's like cool to see that now we have developed such a kind friendship. and we have like Kylie Welker, Bellamere. Like Bellamere, we've never really like clashed. Like we never like were friends back then because she was on the opposite side of Vegas. But to know like that we have a friendship now is just like crazy to see, because I would never have thought I'm like friends with Bellamere when I was younger, because we were just never on the same side. So it's like cool to see that like we have all these like prior relationships, but also forming new relationships, and to know that every single one of us were friends. And even though we're teammates, we're also like best friends, and we just love each other. And it's nice to be able to be a part of a team like that, and to see that circle of wrestling being so small, but it might seem so large at times. It really is small, because you know, these relationships I will hold for the rest of my life, and I hope I can bring them to my wedding one day. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, that's what's crazy about sports, especially in college sports and things like that. That camaraderie you build, and I keep going back to this, but just such an interesting and different year you all had last year only brought you all closer.
Exactly.
And that's just going to make it so much easier and better, and makes, I feel like, from outside looking in, watching your meets and things like that, and your duels, it just looks like you all are having so much more fun. Obviously, the other teams are having fun, but you all are screaming at the top of the top of your lungs every single time.
Yes.
And I'd say, again, outside looking in, it has carried off the mat as well. You were all at the dance marathon big event this last weekend, hanging out with the kids and things like that. What other things do you all do outside of wrestling in the community, like the dance marathon big event? What do you all do?
Yeah, I know some of my girls, they're ISAC. They're part of ISAC, and they're definitely really engaged with that. They're great leaders on the mat, and great leaders as people, as human beings, and they really try to uplift us and like help us become more engaged with other athletes, with other communities, and things like that. We also have some girls in AIA, which is like Athlete in Action, and a lot of people are very very passionate about that, and that's amazing to see that there's so many girls. There's a lot of our girls that are a part of that, and obviously I try to keep myself engaged as well. Like I love being able to give back to communities, even though this might not be my home, like my Las Vegas home. Iowa's home to me now, and I try to, you know, be as engaged as I can be, even with season being in its crunch time right now. I try to still be as active. Like you said, I went to the dance marathon, which was an amazing experience. I just love kids, and to see their smiles on their faces is just honestly just the best thing to see, you know, and I love being a part of it. And then my favorite thing is going to the senior home. I went there a lot of times at the beginning of the season. It was my favorite thing ever. Every Sunday, oh my goodness, bingo was.
Oh boy, I can't imagine.
Yeah. They go crazy.
Oh yeah.
They're so cute, and I just love them. I miss going back there, so hopefully I can go back and say hi to all my friends, because they're such a highlight of my life, and they just love Iowa, and they just love Hawkeyes, and they love athletes, and they're such good people. But yeah, the senior home was one of my favorite things that I love to do and engage with. And then any chance I get, like in the hospital, I try to go up there and go see the kids and do anything like I can do for them and do for the community. But yeah, we try our best to engage with the community, and we just love the support that everyone gives us. So it takes little to no effort for us to go and engage with everyone else.
The senior living home, I bet that is super fun.
Yes.
Do you have like a favorite bingo memory? Did you ever win in bingo? I know they're pretty competitive.
I know better not to play because I'm just too scared.
You're too scared.
No, they know everything. They know like all the different kinds of bingo. I literally thought it was just like cross, up, down. Nope, there's like different types of bingo, and I was like,
what other types of bingo they play?
There's like railroad. There's like, I don't know what that. I don't know.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just like
Dang.
there's so many different ways to play bingo, I guess. And no, yeah, there's definitely. I think every single time I go there, it's like a great memory of my favorite memory. I can't really pinpoint my favorite, but like I do like. There's this one lady, her name is Maxine, and she is just amazing. She's so cute, and I always want her to win, but like sometimes she just doesn't win, and it sucks. But she always like comes back. You know,
she's always coming back.
She's
she always wants
coming
to
back.
play.
Yeah,
she's got the competitive drive like you, right? You come back and play more.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, Sterling, you have regionals coming up in what? 2 weeks from now. I guess when this comes out, it'll probably be closer to a week from now.
Yeah.
And then nationals a couple of weeks after that. What's been the preparation like, getting ready for that these last couple of weeks since the regular season has ended? And what are you most excited about for those big meets coming up?
Obviously, to be able to compete with my team. I think because this is everyone's first time, even for my class and for the freshmen as well. It's just to be able to be a part of that. I think that's the greatest thing about the sport and being able to be a part of this team is that this is going to be the first for all of us, and it's going to be exciting. And you already know we're going to bring the energy. I think I can speak for all of us that we're all excited and we're all going to have fun, and I think that's my biggest takeaway from this moment right now and the days leading up to the competitions, the big competitions, is that it's going to be like every other tournament for me. I'm just going to have fun. I love what I do, and I'm going to do what I love to do, and that's to wrestle.
That's to wrestle. You've already wrestled in some of the biggest stages in the world, it sounds like. So you've traveled the world already. So what's the national duels, right? Well, I can't wait to see what you all do. It's been so fun watching this team grow this year, watching you all absolutely kick butt. It's been so fun to watch. And Sterling, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show today. You are incredible. You're an amazing student athlete. You're an amazing person. Everything you do on the mat and off the mat has just been absolutely amazing to watch. Can't thank you enough for coming on the show today.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Thank
Had a great
you.
time.
Thank you. Glad you did. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Sterling, and thank you all for watching another episode of Meet the Hawkeye. Be sure to check out the Daily Iowan website for all things Hawkeye sports. From all of us here at DITV, that's Sterling Diaz. I'm AJ Reisetter. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.